Hey guys, Ghazzy TV here with another Path of Exile 2 video, and in this one I'm going to be tackling the Sorceress that was revealed and all of the information that we have so far, and a couple of extra pointers from the playtesting that I've done in LA playing the Sorceress as well. Before we dive into the ascendancies, there's a couple of factors that I think we need to take into consideration. Now, I've spent a lot of my time playtesting Path of Exile 2, and in the later playtesting in California, LA, I've mostly been playing the Witch class and the Sorceress itself. That's where my time has been spent, and I've had an absolute blast playing it. And the class itself has felt like a big powerhouse of scaling power. That was not the experience we had in the earlier playtest, but as they've improved and iteration, the newer iterations of the game has really made the Sorceress step up and actually deliver in terms of both mechanical combinations, gameplay feel, and strength. From the gameplay footage released, they're showing some absolutely insanely looking features, such as how the spark lightning projectile, when shot through a firewall, gets an amazing effect on them. It looks beautiful, and I'm personally a big fan of this, since it gets the feeling to me that it might be one of those abilities that we can use as a one-button build for clearing. Well, let's dive into the ascendancies, starting with the Chronomancer. Now, in the interview with Jonathan, he basically explained that the biggest issue was how to make an ability that literally stops time without it being brokenly overpowered. Personally, I find that very, very fun, but they seem to have found a really cool spot to make this ability work in the game without it being overpowered. The time stop ability is called Time Freeze, which is located on the bottom left corner of the Chronomancer ascendancy node, and it does not affect allies, it does not affect allies' minions or your own minions, and that's how that ability works. However, the revealed information on the Chronomancer is very limited. We only have access to the first one, which is Temporal Rift, which works exactly the same way that it works in PoE 1. In PoE 1, as you can see right here, is in a situation where you basically reserve mana to apply a buff and leave an after images of your recent past, cast a spell again to return to your oldest after image and teleporting to that location, as well as resetting your life mana energy shield to the values that you had when you first cast the ability. So essentially, you can get this positioning situation and or resetting your mana and life, for example. So you can use the Temporal Rift, move somewhere, cast the biggest mana cost ability that you have, then pop the Temporal Rift again to get teleported back to where you clicked it, and have the mana, life, and everything and energy shield back to what it was when you first clicked the ability. The other one is called Time Snap. There's very little information about this other than that it resets your cooldowns, which would essentially allow you to cast Time Freeze, then Time Snap, and then Time Freeze again. And there's been some pretty cool theoretical approaches of what you can do with this in the game already from other content creators. I believe it was Jungron who was mentioning the idea of the falling hammer from the warrior, for example, being able to cast that with a war cry to echo it, so you would have multiple these big hammers falling from the sky, then cast your Time Freeze, then cast a Time Snap, and do it all over again in a big combination with a massive amount of surging damage output. Now, obviously, we don't know all of the abilities. We don't know how this is going to feel and look or perform. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this will pan out once we get to play the game. Very excited for the Chronomancer. I hope you are as well. Now, the secondary ascendancy that we will have access to in the early access is the Stormweaver. Now, the Stormweaver is a personal favorite of mine, and the main reason for this is the whole idea of the crit shocking approach with the lightning storms. And I think this looks really cool, especially in the revealed gameplay footage, because the first ascendancy node here on the right that's being shown is the granting skill Elemental Storm. What this does is that it triggers an Elemental Storm that's dealing damage on a consistent basis to enemies in range whenever you crit with a spell. The other ascendancy that we see from the reveal is on the left-hand side in the middle, saying that targets can be affected by 2 of your shocks at the same time, with a 50% less duration of them. This essentially allows you to double the efficiency of shock and therefore deal more damage. For those of you who are not aware of what shock actually does in the game, it will behave in a similar fashion to that of PoE 1, where a shock value will increase the amount of damage that target is taking from any source of damage taken. And the third ascendancy node that we have revealed is actually connected to this shocking effect, which is called Shaper of Storms, where all damage from hits contributes to shock chance. What this means is that normally lightning damage is the single one source of shocking capable damage dealing abilities, or elemental if you wish. And what this will do is allowing you to deal damage in the form of chaos or physical, fire, or cold. And all of these will allow you to have a chance to shock with those abilities or those elements rather than being hard locked into this idea of you have to use lightning skills. So this opens up a lot of variety, and this is something I'm personally very excited about when it comes to PoE 2, the diversity, all the things that we have not found yet or seen yet, and still allowing us to be in a position where we can have the build diversity from the get-go when we go through the gate and we're open into the world of raid class in PoE 2 20 years after PoE 1. Now, sadly, there's not much else we can say about the Sorceress. I wanted to make a video where I deep dive or the revealed information that we have on each ascendancy, so I'll be doing one for the other classes as well. Sadly, I don't have much else to say about the Sorceress, but what I will say is that since you're still watching this and listening to me ranting on and on and on, I can only assume that you actually found yourself enjoying this video. Now, if that's the case, I would like to ask you that you hit the like button, subscribe for more content. It helps the channel out a lot. And don't forget to leave a comment down below saying what class you plan on starting or even ascendancy that you plan on starting with your first character in PoE 2 Early Access coming 6th of December. So till next time, as always, Exiles, stay safe, keep rocking, and have a great night.